Everybody and people around the world, welcome back to Going Umbral. Today we're gonna be having a little look at an update for Frost. So, what brought about this little change in Frost? I took Frost into Cougar Survival about a week ago with a clanmate of mine. And I found that he survived for quite a decent amount of time. Say about 45 minutes. We was doing an hour-long survival. But after that 45 minutes, he was getting one shot from full health. Right, Snagglepuss, we're going to have to take you off for this demonstration. Yeah. So, I revisited Frost. Had a look around, thinking, how can we build Frost to be even tankier and a better defender than he was before? Well, simple fact is, what we have here, instead of just using the two Umbral mods, we are now using all three. This build is very former heavy. Very former heavy, unless you have the Umbral former, which you use to polarize one of these. In which case it will offer you some more space to use your prime mods, whatever you need to. So you may notice a few differences from the build that we had before. One, we're no longer at 98% duration, so it does hurt the duration of our freeze a little bit. But I can gladly say we can still freeze a decent amount of enemies for a decent amount of duration, at least long enough to kill them. Again, we still have that 60% efficiency. Don't know why I almost said duration. Efficiency, just so we can spam our abilities. We no longer have 145% range. I figured build in Frost for defense. You don't want to make your bubble too big. By making your bubble too big, essentially you're giving enemies more of a chance to get through your defenses and attack the target. If we just have a small bubble, which we can put around a defense target, it'd be a lot better. And yes, we can freeze enemies with a decent excuse me, within a decent range of us. I will be going through the powers. And we do have a bit more power strength. When growing power activates, we are sitting at, I believe, 198%? 194%. So the changes from the build, again we're using all three Umbral mods. We now have the augment chilling globe in here. However, if you're not really that bothered about building Frost for defense, use Icy Avalanche. With this current setup, and with growing power procced, providing Warframe Builder hasn't lied to me, for every enemy frozen, you'll be able to absorb 110 damage per enemy. So if you hit 10 enemies, that's 1100 damage you can absorb before it goes to your health or shields. We have adaptation for that resistances, just so Frost can be a bit more tanky when he's taking full onslaught. And we no longer have prime continuity just because we can't fit it in. Unless we use the Umbral former on Frost, we just cannot fit it in. So we're using a normal continuity for that boosted duration. We no longer have range in our Exless. Instead, we have gone for power drift for more power strength and the chance to resist knockdown. I can't stress how important resisting knockdown is in high level gameplay. There have been many times when I've been grappled by a scorpion or an ancient healer, and I've been killed while I've been dragged along the floor. It's just so good. And again, we are using growing power. I can't remember what we was using before. I believe it was corrosive projection. But we have growing power now, just for the extra ability strength when we proc status. And usually I like to pair Frost up with the Galaxion. So we're going to get a lot of statuses procced. Now we are no longer using the... I forget the name of it. The Cyber for Frost. Well, it was a nice themed weapon for Frost. I found against high level game enemies, it just wasn't doing the job. So I went through my melee weapons and I found a Thibodeau Prime actually complements Frost very well. Especially with stance Clashing Forest, because you can essentially sweep along the battlefield, hitting loads of enemies along the way, which I will showcase now. Right, let's get some energy going. Right. No, we don't want invincibility. Right, simulate. There we go. Alright, let's do this. Right, freeze. Headshot with the Galaxion. As you can see, the attack speed from the Thibodeau. Why am I not attacking? Hold on. There we go. Obviously you can use the Galaxion, strip some armor, and then just wail on them with the Thibodeau. Your bubble can now absorb a lot more damage than it could before. Now when I was previously doing the Cougar survival with a clanmate of mine, going up against level 120s with Frost, yeah, I was getting one shot. As you can see now, you can easily survive. You can push them out. Chilling Globe stops them from coming in and just smacking us. Now one thing I should mention about Frost's abilities: when the enemy is frozen, you cannot apply status effects to them. This is something that I recently found out redoing Frost, which before, that wasn't always the case. You used to be able to freeze the target and apply any status to them. But I think that was a bit overpowered, and I think they patched that. As you can see, with the efficiency, we can keep them stun locked with Avalanche by wailing on them with the Thibodeau. Frost? There we go. Right. Who's left? And casting your wand on your bubble will allow you to actually destroy it, which is handy for not only you but for your teammates as well, because if you try and shoot through a bubble, you just can't. Freeze you, yeah, freeze you. Look at that. Galaxion still destroys high level targets. And honestly, that's all the updates for Frost. I find Frost a lot more survivable with this setup than my previous setup. You can take a few good hits now and not just kneel over from the pressure. And honestly, he's been seeing a lot more playtime with me now that he's been updated with this current build. As you can see, we're sitting at 930 health. And thanks to having all 3 Umbral mods, mine aren't maxed out, but I now have 772 armor, which means he can take a very big beating before getting KO'd. And that about does it. Short and sweet. It's an updated build for Frost. He's a lot more powerful now. And I hope you enjoy it. Well, see you guys later. Ta-ta now.